Hello, and welcome to How to Build a Business from the Backroads in 2023. I kind of came upon this idea just a few weeks ago, maybe even just 1 week ago, when I was taking down the Christmas lights, starting to take everything down, and I went into reflection mode and prediction mode. And even as I was writing the newsletter that went out on last Sunday, which, by the way, if you're not on the email list yet, go and get on that email list. It's roadpreneur.com/letters. And that's where I send out every single week, just one, but very dense email that's full of a letter and an idea and just what's on my mind about the business building world and the travel world, the RV world, and everything that goes into building a business from the backroads. And so that whole newsletter writing, that whole Christmas light decoration, taking down and prediction mode led me to think what's coming next, because there has been so much change happening. I said a few times online that it feels like 2023 is going to be this giant snow globe that just gets shaken up, and all these things that we thought were going to be the normal, the usual, the typical way of marketing, it's all changing. And there's a good reason for it. And I'm actually really glad that it's changing, because as a customer myself of many different businesses, I'm a little bit tired of the way things have always been done. And if that's you as well, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious if you've kind of felt the same. By the way, if you're watching the replay, which I know there was a lot of people who said, I can't make that time, can I come to the replay? Yes, there will be a replay. And if you're watching the replay, I'd still love to hear from you. So when I say tell me in the comments, I really still want you to tell me in the comments. I love to hear from you. But let me know, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, how you feel about business today. Because so many people that I've talked to, so many people that I've heard from feel a little bit overwhelmed and tired and exhausted. And why are there so many emails? And why is there so much noise? And yet, how do I grow my business without contributing to that noise? But don't I have to be noisy in order to get found? And the answer to all of that is no, you don't. You don't have to be noisy in order to get found, but you do have to show up. And so that's what this presentation is all about. I wanted to put it together, like I said, somewhat sporadically. There's definitely no slides or anything like that going with it. We're just going to be talking about where I see things going in 2023, because it's an important conversation to have, especially if you don't want to fall into the pitfalls of doing business how it's always been done, but you want to make things a little bit better and lean into where we're going in 2023. Okay, have I said 2023 enough yet? I want to just quickly make sure that we are live inside the Facebook group. I think that we are. And I want to pull it up so that I can get everything situated. I will do that right now. Perfect. We're good. We are good to go. All right. Gina, I'm so glad you're saying I'm feeling this so much. Yes, it's absolutely a thing. So, okay. Before I get into the how to build, so I'm going to get really tactical. I'm going to give you a little bit of a time to go and grab your pen and paper, because you're going to want to take some notes on this one. I don't like to ever leave you with a free presentation, especially where you're just left thinking, well, I could have done without that. Where do I get my hour of time back? No, this is going to be something you can take and you can put into motion starting right now as you're doing your planning, as you're thinking ahead to how am I going to grow this thing in 2023? How am I going to make 2023 my year? I've heard that so many times. I think I've said it probably a dozen times as well. I want to make 2023 my year. Well, this is going to show you how to do that. But before I get into those top 5 things, we're going to go through the 5 things. I want to shine a light on some goal planning. And I kind of hesitated to say that because setting goals is something that has been talked about a lot. And if you're like me, you might be a little bit tired of hearing about setting your goals, setting your intentions, finding your word. It's a really important thing to do, but I think a lot of us are shifting past it. But I wanted to share something with you about goal setting that really stood out to me. This is from someone called Noah Kagan. He is a creator of a little tiny tool that I'm sure you've probably heard of called AppSumo. And he has sent out an email with how he takes his one word of the year and turns it into very actionable goals. And I wanted to highlight this because I loved it so much. I actually read it really recently before I was even planning this. And I thought, man, that's a really good way to approach it. And it's a really roadpreneurial way to approach it. If you're new around here, roadpreneur basically just means that you want to build a business while also hitting the road, exploring. I cater a lot to RVers. You don't have to be an RVer to be here, but the whole concept of being an RVer is a lot of times you're off grid. A lot of times you don't have internet service. And so the two oftentimes don't go hand in hand. And how can I build a business if I don't have internet service in this day and age? How can I build a business when my upload speeds are crazy slow? Which, by the way, I am a part-time RVer. I am not a full-timer. I hit the road as often as I can, but my upload speeds at home are just as slow as they are on the road. And a lot of times the road can even be faster. So that's just a little fun side note. In any case, let's get back to the goal planning. I feel like I'm kind of going all over the place here. Noah Kagan's goal planning method reminded me of that roadpreneur lifestyle. That's why I wanted to define it for you in case you are new around here. And if you are, welcome. And this is what it was. So he says every year he will set his one word. Let me know in the comments, have you set a one word yet? Is this something that you've done? Is this something that you, hold on, let me just refresh this. No, Kat, there's not a Zoom link for this one today. No. Let me know if you have set your one word of the year yet. Let me get to the comments here. There we go. There we go. Consistency, discipline. Those are really good words of the year. I've actually not set mine yet, but if I were to set it, I've been really sitting with minimalist. I want things to feel easy, simple. I want to still get a lot done, but I believe you can have beautiful things, create beautiful things while still being more minimalistic. Writing and connect, ease, growth. These are all such good words. They're such good words, but also they don't always answer to the goals, the very specific outcome goals. So what Noah Kagan has done, his word, by the way, was grounded. What he did was then he took it and he divided up what that's going to look like across 5 aspects of his life. So pen and paper out. You're going to want to write these down. These are the 5 aspects of his life that he thinks through every single year and then will attach a very specific goal to. The first of that is work. So how much money are you wanting to make? How many subscribers do you want to have, either on your YouTube channel or on your podcast, to your email list? Just start attaching some numbers to those things. Now, I've intentionally left out social media from this, and he did too, by the way. And we'll get into more about why in a little bit. That's one of my predictions. But it's really a good idea to start attaching numbers to those core areas of the business that you own. So it can be traffic to your website because you own that digital realty. That is your website. Of course, things can happen. You can get hacked. I know that happened to Fast Company in 2022 and it was terrible, but they got their website back up. It's much easier to get your website back up than it is to get your Facebook profile back up or your Facebook group back up. I know someone who had their Facebook group shut down, and it was shut down for at least 6 months. Last I heard, it had been 6 months and she still had not gotten it back. So a lot can happen in the social space. We want to attach those numbers to things that we own: our email list, our podcast, our YouTube channel. We own them to an extent. So attach those numbers there. So that's number 1. You take your word, discipline, consistency, writing, connection, ease, and growth. And how is that going to translate into the goals that you want to reach for your work life? Then you go and you do workout. How are you going to be healthier? How are you going to feel your best? And he says workout. I would say health, because one of my big goals is to drink more water. That's not necessarily a workout thing. Yeah, you want to drink water when you're working out. But on my days when I'm not working out, I have this bad boy right next to me. I don't know if you can see it with the blur going on. That's my favorite Christmas gift that I got this year because it's 40 ounces and it sits next to me and it goes with me in the car. It's with me all the time, and I'm actually drinking more water. That's one of my goals. So what are some health goals that will help you feel better about, just physically feel better about your health, your overall well-being, mentally, energetically? I like to drink a lot of water because it helps me mentally. I feel like it just kind of cleans my brain out when I'm having those moments of cobweb in the afternoon where I'm like, I can't think straight. It's really good to have that water. I also like to work out. I love to mountain bike. I like to go hiking. So I will attach my goals specifically to that. Next is personal goals. Is there something in your personal life that you want to achieve? And then there's living goals. How do you want to live your life a little bit differently, a little bit better, a little bit more consistent with your word of the year? How are you going to live in a way that is In growth mode, are you going to start waking up early? Are you going to go to bed a little bit later? Are you going to do one thing a day? Are you going to dedicate 30 minutes a day to this specific thing? What does living look like for you? And I'm going through these really quickly because I want to get into the predictions. Like I said, this is kind of a last minute tack on to this presentation, but I thought it was really good to kind of get our mind going about what we actually want to achieve in 2023. So again, workout or health, personal, your living, where you're living, how you're living, what you're doing every day, and then travel goals. And that's when I was like, this is so roadpreneurial. I've got to share this. What are your travel goals? So again, being a roadpreneur, you don't have to live full-time on the road. You do not even have to be an RVer necessarily. You just have to have this desire to experience adventure, experience somewhere new. Go and see the world. And so as you're setting your goals, what does that look like? Are you going to, I have a really close family friend who has a goal of going to Iceland in every single month of the year. So she's not going to go every single month of 2023, but that's her overarching goal of, I'm going to go across my lifetime. I will go there in January and February and March and April and May. And I think she's at 7 different months that she's been right now. She's got 5 more months to go and see Iceland. I'm really hoping I get to go with her on one of those trips. And we're trying to coordinate that. We'll see. What's another goal you can have? Maybe you're going to take the entire summer off to make a huge loop around some part of the United States in your RV. That's one of our big goals right now. We really want to take some time in RV longer and further and get out there more. So setting these specifics around your goals is going to help. But what happens next? What happens next when you start to think about, okay, great, I've got this goal, but now what? Well, that's why I really wanted to do this presentation today, because that's that now what feeling that will so often leave us feeling stuck. And like I said at the beginning of this, 2023 is going to be this year that it's like a snow globe. Everything's getting shaken up. Things are changing. People are changing. Habits are changing. Behaviors are changing. And we as entrepreneurs need to change alongside those to meet people where they're at. Because if we don't, we are going to fall behind and our own business is going to suffer because people are going to shift and meet those entrepreneurs who are keeping pace with the consumer behaviors where they're at, and they're going to move on. In order to not make your business a commodity, something that you can, get just about anywhere, buy on Amazon, you need to know where the world is going, see where the world is going. And so as you move into those goals that we just talked about, your work goals, how much money you want to make, how many subscribers you want to have, your workout goals, how are you going to keep mentally alert enough to reach those work goals, and your personal goals, your living goals, and your travel goals. As we move there, we're going to have more of a plan, and we can keep out ahead of it, and we can really jump into it. Okay, so enough talk. Not enough talk, so I'm going to keep talking to you for a little bit longer. Let's get into the goals, though. This is goal number 1. Stop treating social media like it's a marketing plan. This is a little bit jarring. I know that because we've had a lot of conversation inside the Roadpreneur Community, Roadpreneur School, about, but what would I do without my Facebook group? My people are used to seeing me there. I mean, we're here right now inside of a Facebook group. So that, of course, can feel a little bit overwhelming because, well, you're here inside of a Facebook group. Is this not part of your marketing plan? Yes, it's part of it, but it's a small part. It's a sliver of my marketing plan. Social media is not what it used to be. Social media is not social as much as it is now noisy and overwhelming, and algorithms are now deciding what we see. I actually recently followed someone who was really interested in, and I forgot to hit the show me all the posts or that kind of a thing because I was in a hurry and I'm like, oh, cool, I want to see more from them. I'm going to hit like. And then I lost them and I could not remember their name, but I'm like, I can picture their profile, but I can't picture their name. How do I find them again? It's not a way to keep in front of people like it used to be. Marketing is our way of getting people familiar with who we are and building that know, like, and trust factor. If we're relying solely on social media or heavily on social media, we are going to be lost. It's going to be very difficult to get out ahead of them. In addition, as roadpreneurs, social media is a huge drain. It's very hard to keep up with. I will tell you that I suffer from FOMO, like I think 99% of the world does at times. And so when I'm off grid and I go back on grid online and I have access again to my phone and my internet, I check in on Facebook or something and I see 20 plus notifications, I think, oh my goodness, what have I missed? I feel so terrible. You don't want to feel like that all the time. You don't want to feel that overwhelmed. Like I have missed a critical comment in my Facebook group, or I have missed a critical, whatever it is. You want to have a place where you can go to get those critical messages. My preference is the inbox, and be able to respond to people who need their help, need your help right away. You also then want to go to your customers, wherever it is that you are talking to your customers, meeting your people. And yes, reaching out to your customers is a marketing plan because retention is important. You want to keep people happy. You want to keep people in your swirl. In order to grow, you need to consistently build, and you cannot build if you're just a leaky bucket and people are coming in and then they're leaving. They're coming in, then they're leaving. It's not a way to grow. So retention is a marketing plan. It's actually my very first marketing plan. I work really hard at retention, both for Roadpreneur and my sister company, Cruising and Campfires. And that's because the happier you make your customers now, the more people they're going to want to invite into your space, but also the easier it is going to be to grow because now you know what people want. You're building that relationship. You're helping people get results that you can then use in your marketing to say, hey, I've helped this person do XYZ. I would love to help you too. So now you can see there's no social media in that plan. There's no social media in that plan. What's in that plan is helping people, showing up, building relationships. And that does not have to happen on a specific platform. Where that happens is on your own website. Remember how I said in the setting the goals and the work goal, I didn't include any social media figures? I think I only have like 540 something followers on Instagram. I'm fine with it. It is not a core piece of my marketing strategy. Of course, I would love to grow, but it's just not where my focus is. My focus is on building out my website, optimizing my website so people who want what I have to offer can find me easier, building my email list so that I can stay in connection with people and get in front of them faster and easier by landing in their inbox, which by the way is a more intimate setting, and I can do more relationship building marketing. So as you're planning your marketing plan for 2023, sure, include some social media. Like I said, I'm live here in the Facebook group. Obviously, there is something here, but don't neglect the other portions of what you own already, your own digital real estate, your website. How are you going to optimize that? Really make it stand out. How are you going to write the copy that's personable and makes people feel seen as soon as they land on your website? Like, oh man, this person gets me. They're in my head. How are you going to set up an email strategy so that you can continue to build those relationships? What are the funnels you're going to set up? What are the weekly newsletters you're going to send out or monthly newsletters you're going to send out? What's that cadence? How are you going to create content, a podcast, a video channel, or YouTube channel, I should say, a vlog, I was trying to say, or a blog? How are you going to consistently use that? How are you going to use other people's audiences to grow? Understanding that portion should be about 90% of your thought process as you're planning out your 2023 marketing. And then social media can come in. Of course, you want to post on social media if you have a new post or a new podcast, or you want to, get to know people in the DMs and stuff like that. That's great. There's opportunity there, but it should not be the core. And it's going to continuously go downhill as the core place for people to go and find businesses. It already has happened. It's already happening. People are interested. They're going to follow you. They're going to like you. They're going to trust you enough to give them that like, but you cannot rely on that algorithm anymore to be growing your business. That is not a soul marketing plan. Okay. Number 2, are there any questions about that? You can type in the questions anytime in the comments. I am here for them. We will continue to move on. The next one is, it kind of goes hand in hand with number 1, but it's this one. We're going to ditch the medium-sized content. I'm talking like 500 to 700 words. That's about 1 page on a Google Doc or a Word document. And we're going to go long form or super short form. So super short form is your reels, It's your tweets. I know these are all social media, and I just said to not make social media your marketing plan, but you can still put content there. That's totally fine. It just should not be the crux of your marketing plan. So short form content is getting found more. It's getting seen more. YouTube shorts are exploding in growth. TikTok exploding in growth. I don't do either of them. I've looked at them. It's not my forte. It's not something that I love. So I just am not over there a lot, but I follow and work closely with a lot of content creators who do love it, and they're getting tremendous results. Instagram Reels, that's been a thing for a while. It's going to continue to be a thing because here's why short form content works so well. And this is important for you to understand because it's not just the platform, it's the why behind that platform. Why that short form content works so well is because that's about our attention span online. So when we are in that specific space, when we are on social media and we are scrolling social media, we want those quick dopamine doses of that was entertaining. That was oh, I got something out of that. Oh, I feel inspired just by reading that quick quote. Oh, I love that music. Oh my gosh, I love that dance move. I kind of wish I could dance like that. Those are the kinds of things that capture attention, make you slow down your scroll. Maybe not even stop it, but you slow down your scroll or you linger a few seconds longer because you just want to be edutained or educated and entertained at the same time. And then, yes, that's a great question. So the long form content then, so you can focus on the short form content, get some of those things out there, make the connections in a fun way, in a quirky way, on brand, whatever's your brand. And then you're going to guide everybody over to your long form content. Long form content is anything. I pause because some people will say it's anything over 1,000 words. I would even encourage it over 2,500 words if you can. I know that's daunting and it will take a lot longer. This is not 2,500 words you're going to post every single day, but it's going to be, if you post one post a week and it's 2,500 words, that's going to have some clout. It's going to have some weight to it, which is going to help you show up more on search engines. And let me tell you, I talked about the intent of watching this short form content. It's to be educated with little how-tos or little bite-sized things. Like I love to watch reels about recipes. I've made the best like shrimp cocktail just by watching a reel. That works really well for the short form. 500 to 700 words. No one's going to read that. People are tired of scrolling on Pinterest and trying to find this silly recipe, but you have to scroll for an hour to find the recipe because it's all this like SEO built-in stuff. Nobody wants that. We want the short form content, that quick win, that instant win. And then the long form content, when we're ready to dig in, roll up our sleeves and really get some answers, we want answers. We don't want marketers wasting our time anymore. I promised you at the beginning of this, I was not going to waste your time. Get that pen and paper. Hopefully you've already started to take some notes because we don't want to have our time wasted. We're tired of the noise. We want to lean in to the people who are going to make a difference to us when we give them our time. Your time is an investment. Even if you don't spend any money, don't have any, there's no monetary exchange happening. Your time is an exchange and it's valuable and it's important. And so the fluff has got to go. So the short form content can be excellent for that quick entertainment, that quick joke. I love watching comedians on Instagram. Also, Jim Gaffigan's one of my favorites. He's hilarious. He had a great one yesterday about skiing, cross-country skiing, and like, why is this even a sport? It's like your awkward time getting off the lift. It's not a sport. I thought it was hysterical. That is your good short form content because you're giving those little bits of emotional response. The long form content is where you can go deep with somebody and really dig in and let them see what you have to offer. Let them hear from you. Let them understand all the value that you have to offer because you do have a lot of value to offer. But we can't expect them just to know that. We need to start to present it in a longer form where people can really lean in. Long form masterclasses like this one, that's another great example. We're spending a good amount of time together, and that is going to hopefully make a difference in your day, hopefully make a difference in your marketing. And as you're planning your 2023, hopefully you're going to get something out of this and say, oh, I'm going to lean into that instead of where I was going to go. And it's going to make such a difference in my business. I'm going to explode my growth with less effort because I'm going to do one long form blog post instead of some, just fluffy post just for the sake of posting every single day kind of a thing. Okay. So long form content again is it over 1,000 words, ideally even over 2,500 words. I will say that I've had a ton of success blogging for clients and also under my name on their website um, at over 10,000 words, over, gosh, I had one that was over 25,000 words and it's still ranking really high and performing really, really well. Uh, how would you define short form in a podcast? So, short form in a podcast is really a great way to, it can be, this can be a little bit longer than the 60-second reel. This can be a little bit longer because at that point, hold on, let me take a step back. Whenever I answer these questions, I want to just kind of give you an idea of what's going through my mind as I answer these. I always think about what's happening in the customer's mind at that point. What is their intent? So when you listen to a podcast, your intent is to get a little bit more than you would out of a 60-second reel. So for me, a short form podcast would then be anything under 10 minutes. There's some great how-to podcasts that are just on there to quickly tell you like a 10 minute a day, like micro dose of inspiration or how to do something very, very, very specific that you can explain in 10 minutes or less. Those work really well. If you're going through like some kind of a plan, for example, I know there's a lot of podcasts where if you're reading the Bible in a year, every single day is going to be, they're just going to read you that scripture and then you're going to go in and now you've checked that box and you're reading through the Bible every year, but you put it in your AirPod or your earbuds or whatever, and then you go through and you've checked it off. That works really well. If you're like on that kind of a plan, there's a very structured plan to it set out where this is what we're doing every single day. That works really well as well. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay. Let me get a little drink of water and then we're going to move on to number 3. I'm going to do a recap, so don't worry about that. Told you guys, I love my Stanley mug. They are not a sponsor or anything like that. I just love it. Okay. Number 3 is to extend the runway for your buyer. So these are kind of stacking on top of each other. And number 3 is extend the runway for your buyer. And I say that, and I kind of paused a little bit because it stacks on top of the long form content as part of extending this runway. And I'll explain more about what it means in just a second. And it stacks on top of treating your social media as a relationship building tool rather than just like a place where you have to post consistently just to keep showing up in the algorithm. This is now changing our mindset away from, I'm going to turn off my space heater because I don't need it. This is changing our mindset away from showing up and being noisy and being consistent and being in that constant hustle mode and I have to be on all the time. And if I'm not on, then I must be losing customers. No, it takes us away from that. And instead, what we can do is give ourselves permission to market for longer and know that it's okay. That buyer's journey is going to be a little bit longer. And also extend that runway for your customers because nothing feels worse than like you have 15 minutes to make this decision about what you want to buy and you feel really like, oh, I think I do want to buy this. And sometimes that works okay. I'm not opposed to it in the right settings. But I've seen that 15 minutes, you have to make a decision about spending $3,000 with me. And that feels hard and it feels heavy. And people today are now looking at their grocery bills and spending $9.99 on a dozen eggs and thinking, I'm not putting $3,000 in a pressure-induced environment towards something where I don't understand really what it is. I would like to do my due diligence. Now, something that I teach inside the Roadpreneur School is when you're writing your sales page, you're writing it to 4 different decision maker types. Some people are going to make the decision about whether they want to buy from you before they even hit the scroll button, before they scroll down at all. They're like, man, that sounds great. I'm in. They're the people who are fast at buying. And that's a really good thing. That's a really good place to be if you are a marketer who has that 15-minute timer on it. But there's a lot of others, 3 different decision maker types that need to scroll. They need more answers. They need to do their due diligence. Some need to feel into it. That's when they're getting to know you and to like you and to trust you. Some need specifics. Okay, what is this really going to look like? How many modules do I get if I buy this course? Or when do you ship my subscription box? That kind of a thing. Like they need those details. They need those logical details. Everybody goes through their own journey. Everyone goes through a predictable journey. But today's buyers, knowing that inflation is here, the economy is, it is what it is. And we are kind of in this rocky point of we're not really sure what the markets are going to do. We're coming up on an election year next year that always throws everything in a flux, regardless of your political views. Election years in general throw things in flux. And so we're already in high inflation and coming up on a political year. People are a little bit tighter with their purse strings, as they should be. I am as well. And they want to take a little bit more time to make their decisions, and that's okay. So when I say to extend the runway for your buyers, it is to give them that grace to move at their pace. You do not have to consistently be operating in this FOMO mode. FOMO to an extent works. You do want to kind of say, listen, the doors are going to be closing. You can't always let people in. Or you want to say, I can only give this discount for so long. You can't forever discount your stuff. Otherwise, it's not really a discount. Then you're like Joann's, who's blowing up my phone. Love Joann's, one of my favorite stores. But I always know that I'm not paying full price when I walk into that store because there's always a deal going. You also don't want to be in that mode. So it's a balance. But understanding that you need to extend that runway for your buyers, give them longer so that they can make their purchase decision and answer them with both the quick emotional wins and the deeper emotional connection, and then also the logical side of their brain where they say, okay, what is this actually going to look like? Is this really what I need? Or am I doing the shiny object syndrome that I vow not to do and yet I feel so tempted to do? That's me. Or are you really going to just help them paint that entire picture so they can reconcile? Is this relevant to me? Is this going to be worth the money? Is the benefit going to outweigh that cost? What is that going to look like? We need to answer all of those questions in our marketing. And in order to do that and to give our customer the same breathing room, the same space, the same minimalist vibe that we're going for in our own business, that ease and that it feels good to be here kind of a feel, we need to give them that same space. Just like we want it for ourselves, your customers want it too, especially now. So in 2023, it's going to be even more important to extend that runway and give your buyers a little bit more time to make their decision. Okay. Moving on, unless there are a couple of comments here. Minisodes, Jim Quick has the right size podcast without ads. Yes, I like that. And they're predictable. That is really important because when people can predict how long they're going to be spending with you, I put this event down for an hour. So now I'm probably going to be talking for at least about an hour. If I had said it's going to be 10 minutes and I'm here for an hour, you're going to say, wait a second, you misaligned my expectations. 15 minutes right now. That's good. That's good. Okay. And play around with it also. Before I move on, play around with that too, because data will often inform us. Data will tell you what people want. Data will tell you how long they want to listen. Try putting up an hour-long episode in between those 15-minute episodes and see how many views it gets or how many views. If it's a YouTube video, then yes, a view. See how many plays it gets. See how many people stick around and listen to it. See what that does for your numbers, because that might show that they want more content. Maybe they do want that longer form content, or it'll show you that they don't. And then you really have a permission slip to do the shorter form. Okay, number 4, give them instant gratification without burning yourself out. So here's what I mean by that. When we are living in this beautiful time where as customers, we get things very, very quickly. I can get same-day delivery from Amazon. I can shop from my yoga pants and get things delivered that I need. And I don't ever have to go and put on some makeup to go to the store. Not that I ever have to put on makeup to go to the store anyways, but you know what I mean. Or we're also living in this beautiful time as business owners because we can have that instant gratification without us always having to be on. This is where automations come in. This is where funnels come in. This is where technology comes in. And technology makes my head hurt. It makes a lot of people's head hurt. But when you find really good technology, it can make life so much easier for you and your customers. So instant gratification on your customer side. They are expecting it. They want it. They crave it. They need it from their businesses. They never want to, when I say we as customers and our customer side of our life and our brain, we never want to hit the buy button and say, okay, now I've got to wait 28 days before I get that. That's not a fun feeling. You're like, I bought it. I want it. I'm used to this. I've been trained and conditioned over the years to get things quickly. I want it now. And that's okay. That's fine. But it's up to us as the business owners to set those expectations. So, as a roadpreneur, this can be very difficult when you own a physical product-based business. And there's several different ways around this. I have a whole podcast episode on it. You can do drop shipping, you can do print on demand, that kind of a thing. You can do a subscription box where you can set the expectation very clearly that I'm only shipping 1 day a month. So you might have to wait 28 days, but in the meantime, this is where automation comes in. Automation is important across the board for any type of business. If you have a membership, if you have a course, if you have, if you're a freelancer, if you have a product-based business, or if you have a combination of them all, having automations in place to help set that expectation, define what's going to happen, is going to help you really get out ahead so you don't feel guilty if you're not able to ship right away. You don't feel guilty going off grid or traveling because you know your automations are in place and you will get in touch with your customers right when your customer really wants to be informed, wants to know what comes next. And you can sit back and relax and say, okay, I know my business processes. I've got my own systems and also the automations in place to tell them what to expect next so that they can rest easy. They can feel better about that transaction. Because I'll tell you, one of the number one feelings that people get, no matter the size of the transaction, right when they hit buy, is this buyer's remorse. I got it when I drove our truck off the lot last time because I'm admittedly not a huge truck person, and yet I have a Tundra. We're getting a new one, thankfully, because yeah, that's a whole other story for another day. But I felt it at that moment. And if you've ever bought a car, you've probably felt the same when you drive off the lot. You feel like, oh, I hope I chose the right model. Am I going to like this color? Or is it going to be hard to find in the parking lot? Or is it too bright? Maybe I was just too excited in the moment, but I'm going to love living with this. We get flooded with these questions. The same thing is true when you make a purchase. Every time I walk through the grocery store line, I'm like, I think I forgot something. Did I really need to buy that cereal that I got for my kids that they were tugging on me to go get? I don't even like cereal, but they do. So now I have it. But should I have bought that? Little things, little tiny purchases, or wow, that was more expensive than I thought. Did I really need everything on that conveyor belt? We're constantly going through this thought process. And so as business owners, we need to honor that thought process with these automations, with these triggers, it's called in jargony speak, event-driven triggers, event-driven automations. And that just means when an event happens, like a purchase or signing up for something or sending an email to support, we get these consistent triggers that go back and say, hey, I got your email. I want to let you know that sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to respond, but your email did arrive safely. So you're in good hands and I promise to get you a response as soon as I can. That feels a lot better than just crickets. Like, did it go through? Did something happen? We don't want to have that lingering feeling. And then you can have different triggers, event-driven triggers in your own business as well. So if you have a membership, for example, this is really fun. You can set up these event-driven triggers where every month, I'm about to do this, by the way, for the Roadpreneur Community and Roadpreneur School, which if you're here and you're a student of mine, then you know we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm super excited to share more detail about it. But for Roadpreneur, every single month, we're going to shuffle the deck and you're going to get a new accountability partner, a new person you can meet up with and work with. I have that on automated. I have that on automation. It's hard to say. I have it automated. And the reason why I have that is because I don't want this to rely on me. I am human. I fail. I forget. People get sick. Things happen. And I have gone through a major reshuffling of my business in the last few weeks, specifically to honor when that happens. This last year was terrible on my family for sickness. We had everything go through our household, everything. And it was just wild. And so I was constantly like being thrown off of my schedule, but I still wanted to be on for my people because I love them and I love what I do. I love it to my bones. It wakes me up in the middle of the night in the best way because I'm like, oh, I could do this or I could try this. And I love it. But when I have a sick child, I really love my children more than anything. And as a parent, or you don't even have to be a parent to know that feeling. that's just an obvious feeling. We want to love our kids when they're sick. And I had to be there for them too. And so being split in two different ways in two different areas of my life is very difficult. And I want to set up as many automations as I can so I can love up all the people that I can. And we are so blessed to be living in a time where we have that automation and that technology that will let us do that. Okay, let's move to the last one, the last prediction for 2023. And that is to show up and be helpful instead of boastful. In the last 2 years specifically, since 2020 happened, the pandemic, and everything kind of was thrown about, what I saw was a lot of business owners, a lot of specifically business coaches showing up and saying, and throwing out these ideas and ideals for success. 6 figures, 7 figures. I've done it. You can do it too. And yeah, that might be true. That's a good statement. And yet it can add a lot of pressure. And rather than being helpful, it ends up being very boastful. Well, I did this and I did this and I had this celebrity on my podcast and I had this person that I talked to. And it turns out to be like, look at me, look at me, look at me. I believe that customers are tired of it. We see through it and we don't want that. What we want is someone to come and walk alongside us and say, hey, I can really help you with this. I am a few steps ahead in the journey. I've done this and let me teach you what I know. Let me teach you how I've done this. And let me also show you the mistakes that I've made so you don't have to make them, because goodness gracious, we all make a lot of mistakes. Me especially. I think humans especially. Everybody makes mistakes. But when you can use your marketing and you can use your products and your entire business to be helpful, instead of building your own ego, you're building other people up. A rising tide lifts all boats. We should use our businesses to be linking arms with each other and building everybody up. And to me, that is so valuable. And it's a new perspective that I've not seen as much in the past, but I'm so excited to see moving into 2023. And I'll tell you, I'm part of, if you listened to my podcast yesterday, then you know I've got a lot of these little groups that I talk to. I like to have like these small, more intimate conversations. And one of them is a mastermind group. And she was talking to me about, we're actually having this conversation. It's several different business owners. And we just kind of got together and we're talking. And it came up that we like testimonials. They're good. I told you, and I think it was number 3, to extend the runway for your buyers. And that's, by telling them the transformation you can deliver. That word transformation is so overused. And yet here I am using it. But how do you do it in a way that's not boastful? How do you do it in a way that is not like just self-grandizing? Is that how you say that? How do you do it in a way that's helpful and valuable? And I've been seeing a lot of use cases, and we talked through this, and one of the girls was explaining how she does it too. And it's more of telling that story. And it's as much less boastful, but it's more of a like, what's in that secret sauce? How did she do that? What happened? And you don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but as you're marketing your business in 2023, you can start to say, she took this idea and then she implemented a funnel. She created her website and she launched it. And now she's bringing in customers. Before she even has a product, she's bringing in customers. That's something different because now you can see that in between. So being helpful is more of shining a light on that in between. There's a bridge that you walk across. There's the before, there's the after. This is such a typical copywriting example. And you are there to take people across that bridge from the before, their struggle state, to their dream state of, if I could just solve this one thing that's going on in my head right now and it's causing me to lose some sleep, I would feel like this. So I guess my hands are backwards here. So what's the here we go. This is the dream or the before state, the struggle state, and how are you going to get them over to the dream state, to where they want to be? But in our marketing now, we have the ability to show that bridge. It's just not often shown. And so in doing so, it comes across as more boastful. But when you can show that bridge that you can walk across, now people are going to really relate to how you can get them across. So being helpful, giving these little micro tips. If you, for example, own a company that sells spices, offer the recipes, be helpful, show them how to use it. They're going to be a whole lot more likely to show up and want to use your spices in their, for example, shrimp cocktail thing that they were making, or their ceviche. That's what it was that I made. It was really good, by the way. Feel free to DM me. I'll send you that link. Not at all affiliated with them, just really loved it. So that's how we can be a little bit more helpful and show how things can look in the external world. That's what I try and do in my weekly newsletters. I don't try to just send you a, hey, sign up for my course, doors are open kind of a thing, although I do send those too. I try and be a little bit more helpful. So when you walk away, and hopefully you're walking away from this webinar, this free masterclass with, okay, I don't feel like I have to lean on social media as much anymore. I know I can lean into my own website. And it's finally time. She just gave me that kick in the pants to get my website live so that I can make more sales and feel more comfortable building, a more solid foundation for my marketing, things like that. How can you help your customers? This is where your content comes in. This is where podcasting comes in. This is where blogging comes in. And so, so valuable. All right. So I want to end this with, I wasn't going to do this, and literally a half an hour before I started, I thought I need to do something because these people are showing up and giving me their time, and I want to offer something in exchange for that. So before I give you that, let me just recap this. So as you're setting your goals, I want to just remind you of those 5 elements that Noah Kagan said that he uses, and I really, really love. I think it's great for roadpreneurs. And it's this: set your one word for the year, and then set goals around these 5 areas of your life: your work, your business, whatever you want to call it, your health or your workouts, your personal life, your living, how you're living, and your travel. And then from there, as you're making your plan for how you're going to build the business that will support all of those goals, I want you to think through these 5 predictions that I've just made for 2023, where I really see 2023 going. First, don't feel like you have to rely so much on social media. It is an energy drain. It's great. Definitely post, definitely create your profiles, definitely get your stuff out there, but that cannot be the core of your marketing plan. Not anymore. Consumers will not be finding you as much if that's the core of your marketing plan. Number 2, let's ditch that medium in between fluffy kind of content, and we're either going to go deep or we're going to go with really quick wins. We're going to hit them with really quick wins, whether that win is something that makes them laugh, whether that's win that gives them a recipe, whether that's a win that gives them a quick how-to. That's what we're going to do, those short, quick wins. And then I want you to extend that runway for your buyers and feel really good about being able to do that. Feel good that people don't have to buy in 15 minutes. I don't have to do this sales pressure thing where I feel like I've got to go take a shower afterwards and it feels kind of sleazy. We can sell with a lot of empathy, with a lot of love, and it can take a couple days longer. And that's okay, because we're giving them the space to really feel comfortable with that decision. And then we're going to give them that instant gratification with those automations that are, as soon as they make that decision, there and waiting for them to feel really good about the steps that they just took with our business. And then, of course, on this last one, we're going to show up and be helpful. Throughout that entire journey, we're going to be helpful and not boastful. This is not about you. Building a business is never about you. It is about the people that you serve. And the more you can show up with that mindset of service and helping and being there for them, the more you're going to love showing up for your business. It all comes around. And it makes it more fun when you can see other people experience wins because of something that you helped them with. Man, is that a good feeling? That is such a good feeling. So I want more of that in 2023. How about you? Let me know. We got some comments that I've been missing. I'm sorry. All right. There's a lot of buzz about the hustle culture being out as we enter 2023. Yep. Alignment and humanness seems in. And so true. That hustle culture is exhausting. And yeah, you got to work hard. I love working, but it's because I've designed my business to be something that's fun to show up for. And I'm working with the best people that are fun to show up for. And that's because I attract the right people with my marketing. Authenticity and automation. It's so true. It's so true. You can totally be yourself. And by the way, on the automation, and to automate is human. I like to say that. And it's because that automation meets your customer where they're at in the journey, but you can still respond to their questions. You can still be on the other side of that DM. You can still, even if you have an automatic DM that says, hey, I got this. I'm going to get back to you. This is me. I'm probably on the back roads right now, but as soon as I'm back, I cannot wait to talk to you. I'm so glad you reached out. That kind of a thing. And then actually get back to them. That's a big deal. All right. This is why we want to be entrepreneurs, be present when we need to be. Yep. Boasting is the attention economy at its worst. Gosh, I agree with that. So much agree with that. Ooh, commit is your word. I love it. I love it. I love it. And how do I do the title banners on my Facebook Live? Okay, I'm using a tool called StreamYard. There's your tech tip for the day. StreamYard is a really fun tool, and I absolutely adore it. So you can do these fun banners and things like that. It's really great. Okay, so let's look at the last banner that I have for you. This last banner is my invitation to you to make 2023 feel really good. And so I want to invite you into the Roadpreneur space. And so if you have been thinking about it, if you have been wanting to join the Roadpreneur School, if you've been wanting to hop into the Roadpreneur community, I'm going to explain the difference in a second. Now is a great time to do it. I'm offering a 25% discount. I was not going to do the discount, but right before the call, I thought, no, I'm going to do it. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a good idea because I just want to show that belief in you, and I don't want money to be the hurdle. So this discount will get you in the door for both of them. So Roadpreneur School is where I give you that foundation for how to come up with your idea, to write that web page, to come up with the plan, to understand the customer journey. I talk so much about that today. We go really deep on that inside the modules. And it's a 12-month container where you're going to get me walking alongside you for 12 months. Plus, you're going to get connected with other roadpreneurs who are building the same lifestyle as you. And you're going to get 12 months inside the Roadpreneur Community. The Roadpreneur Community is my membership where every month I give you a monthly marketing playbook. So this month, the monthly marketing playbook is how to sell. I'm pushing you to get an offer out there, and I'm teaching you how to find an offer that people actually want, that they're going to be hungry to buy. It's going to be an easy no-brainer yes. And that's I have the whole process. I have the script for you to walk through, and then follow-up questions to ask, so you can co-create that offer with your people, and you can start making money this month. Even if you don't know what to sell, I show you how to find that thing to sell, and then we go and we get to it. And I'm there with you as well. So we have both of those spaces. It's 25% off now through the weekend. I do have to put a deadline on it because, again, I'm not Joanne's. I don't have coupons all the time. But the doors are always open. But if you are on the fence, now would be a great time to jump in. So you can go to roadpreneur.com/courses. Both of them are there, or just go to roadpreneur.com. The school is up there. The community is up there. Go ahead and click on that, enter the coupon code 2023 at checkout, and you automatically get the 25% off. That 25% off, by the way, is good on your membership throughout however long you're in. So come on over. I would love to see you in. I would love to welcome you in. We have some really exciting things happening, and I cannot wait for tomorrow when I get to be live and go through some of those exciting things with the community and with the students and showcase a new way that we're going to be working together. And I think everyone's going to love it. So there you go. I hope to see you in. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to send me a DM. I'm very much no pressure salesperson. I believe in a long runway, so that's okay. That's why you have through the weekend. I'm not giving you 15 minutes to make this decision. You have through the weekend to breathe a little bit and decide, what is the right next step for me? Where should I be? How am I going to make this happen? Because as you're making this choice, I want you to think through this final question. If you keep doing what you've been doing and that's been working, excellent. If you're ready for a change, if you're ready to evolve and to upgrade your marketing, if you're ready to evolve and upgrade your lifestyle so you can travel more often, how are you going to do that? What are your next steps? And if it's not Roadpreneur School, fine, but I would love for you to find out what that looks like. So that's my goal for you, is to think through that this weekend. What will 2023 look like? How am I going to reach those goals? If it's Roadpreneur School, great. Jump in now so you can save 25%. If it's not, that's fine too. I'm here to support you. I'm so glad that you showed up today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, feel free to DM me if you want that ceviche recipe. And more importantly, feel free to DM me if you want to just talk through whether or not this is the right fit for you. If you have any questions, I am so here for it all. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.